My name is Sarah. I'm sitting in my newly open studio, the sunlight from the window warming the silver watch on my wrist. A soft smile spreads across my face as I whisper, "I made it, Grandma." Outside, the hustle and bustle of London fills the air with the promise of new clients and fresh starts. It's a life that finally feels like it fits me, but it wasn't always this way. A few months ago, I was in the middle of my morning coffee in my London apartment when my lawyer, Mr. Thompson, dropped a bombshell on me. "Silly girl," he mumbled after going through the papers that my sister, Lucy, had forged. He told me that the beach house my grandmother left me was gone. Sold, signed, and stolen right out from under me. The evidence was right there in front of me on the screen of my laptop. I didn't react at first. I just stared out of the window, watching the rain trickle down the glass as if it knew what storm was about to come. Lucy thought I'd stay quiet all the way over here in Europe, but she had no idea what I was capable of. I used to think that moving to London would protect me from the family drama. I grew up in a small town in California, in a family where my parents, Mr. and Mrs. Miller, always compared me to my sister. Lucy was the practical one. At 28, she had married a wealthy businessman and was the perfect daughter in my parents' eyes. She was involved in the local community, always hosting events and making a good impression. My mother, especially, adored Lucy. She would often sigh on the phone and say, "Sarah, you should be more like your sister. She has her life all figured out." I would just bite my tongue and let it go. I was the dreamer of the family. I left for London at 25 to pursue my passion for graphic design. I wanted to build something of my own, to escape the constant comparisons. But there was one person who always believed in me, Grandma Rose. She was the light in our family. Every summer, she would invite me to her beach house overlooking the Pacific Ocean. She'd brew chamomile tea on the porch, while the sound of the ocean waves provided a soothing backdrop. As the ceiling fan whirred, she'd tell me stories about how she started her own business after my grandfather passed away. "Don't let anyone dim your light, Sarah," she'd say, squeezing my hand. "You're meant to shine." The beach house wasn't just a piece of property. It was a symbol of her love and belief in me. When she passed away, she left me the deed, hand, written in her beautiful cursive. It was her way of saying, "I see your worth, even if others don't." After the funeral, Lucy took charge of all the arrangements. She looked so put together in her black dress, greeting relatives like a professional hostess. I thought she was being responsible, but it turns out she was up to something much more sinister. On that fateful morning, when Mr. Thompson told me about the sale, I felt a cold shock go through me. For a moment, I imagined Lucy signing the papers with that fake smile of hers, the one she used to convince everyone that she was in control. I opened my laptop and scrolled through my photos until I found one of Grandma and me on the porch of the beach house. Her hand was on mine, and the sunlight caught the silver watch on her wrist. My throat tightened. That beach house was proof that someone believed I was enough. And now Lucy had turned it into cash. Just then, my phone buzzed with a new email from Mr. Thompson. The subject line said, "Inconsistencies found." My heart skipped a beat. Deep down, I already knew who was behind it. "Sarah, there's something fishy about these documents," Mr. Thompson said over the phone. "The notary stamps don't match and the signature looks rehearsed." I was in disbelief. "Rehearsed?" I asked, though I knew the answer. He hesitated, then said, "Silly girl, your sister must have forged the signature." Those words, "silly girl," which were meant to describe Lucy's foolish attempt, felt like a challenge to me. Lucy thought I was too naive and too far away to notice, but she was so wrong. I opened the scanned copy of Grandma's will that Mr. Thompson had sent me earlier. The signature on the property transfer was similar, but not quite right. The loops were tighter, and the pressure was heavier. Lucy always pressed too hard when she wrote. She liked to leave a mark. Outside, the rain was coming down harder, tapping against the window like a warning. I closed my eyes and whispered, "Grandma, I'm sorry. I should have protected what you gave me." Mr. Thompson told me not to confront Lucy yet. He said we needed proof if we were going to expose her. So, I spent the next few hours digging through old emails, Grandma's letters, and digital scans of her handwriting. Every stroke, every loop became evidence. By midnight, I was surrounded by papers and empty coffee mugs. I sent the images to Mr. Thompson with a simple message. She thought I wouldn't notice. She was wrong. Almost immediately, I got a text from a blocked number. It said, "You've been asking questions." I froze. I typed back, "Who is this?" But there was no reply. Just the 3 dots indicating someone was typing, then they disappeared. The next morning, my phone rang and Lucy's name flashed on the screen. For a minute, I debated whether to answer. Curiosity and anger got the better of me, and I swiped to accept the call. "Sarah." Lucy's sugary voice filled my ear. "You won't believe how busy I've been. I finally sold Grandma's beach house last week. It was a cash offer of $320,000. The realtor said I handled it like a pro. Anyway, thanks for not getting in the way. I know all that legal stuff confuses you." I was seething, but I didn't say a word because I knew my voice would shake with anger. She continued, "I'm sending you $10,000 next week. I thought you could use some help with rent over there." That $10,000 was a fraction of what was rightfully mine. "Lucy," I said slowly, "you realize that beach house was mine?" She laughed as if I'd told a joke. "Come on, Sarah. Grandma wanted it for both of us. You're off in Europe living your design dream. I took care of everything for the family." I said flatly, "You forged her signature." Her tone turned cold. "Watch what you say, Sarah. You don't know what you're talking about." I took a deep breath and replied, "Actually, I do. Mr. Thompson found inconsistencies, fake stamps, and a mismatched signature." There was a moment of silence, then a forced laugh. "You're being dramatic. Maybe your lawyer wants more money. Don't make a fool of yourself." And she hung up. I replayed the call, recorded it, and sent the audio to Mr. Thompson. Her arrogance had just handed me the proof I needed. I also sent an email to Mr. Thompson saying, "Proceed. Collect everything." That night, my mother called. "Sweetheart," she said warmly, "I just talked to Lucy. She told me she sold Grandma's beach house. It's such a relief to have that taken care of." I was trembling as I repeated, "Taken care of?" My mother went on, "She's been working so hard. You should be proud of her." I swallowed the bitterness in my throat and asked, "Did she tell you who inherited it?" My mother paused and said, "She said it was split evenly." I closed my eyes and said, "That's not true, Mom. Grandma left it to me." My mother sighed. "Oh, Sarah, why start a fight? Your sister has done everything right. Just let it go." The call ended, leaving me alone with the sound of the rain. They all thought I was too emotional, too unstable, but they had no idea what I was about to do. I created a new folder on my computer labeled Truth and started dropping in all the evidence I had gathered. Files, recordings, letters, and comparisons. I was building a case against Lucy. 3 days later, Mr. Thompson called. "Sarah, we've filed a fraud report. The court has frozen the sale proceeds. Lucy's going to find out soon." I held the phone tightly, my heart steady. "Okay, then we wait." But we didn't have to wait long. By noon, my phone started buzzing non-stop with missed calls from Lucy. I let them ring, watching the notifications pile up like evidence of her guilt. After 20 missed calls, I finally answered. "What the hell did you do?" She screamed, her voice panicked. "I don't know," I said calmly. "Why don't you tell me?" "Don't play dumb, Sarah. The bank froze my account today. Do you have any idea what you've done?" I replied, "I didn't do anything. The truth did." She laughed bitterly. "You're crazy. You think you can ruin me?" I said coldly, "You're delusional. You stole what Grandma left me. You forged her name and took the money. Don't act surprised when you face the consequences." She tried to justify herself. "You were never responsible enough to manage the beach house." "I did it for the family." I snapped back. "For stealing from me? You think you're so much better just because you're living in a big house and making a good impression? You don't deserve that beach house." She hissed. Someone had to be the adult. You never grew up. That was the last straw. You know what, Lucy? Maybe I haven't in your eyes, but Grandma trusted me. And you stole not just the money, but also the memory of the only person who believed in me. And with that, she hung up. Minutes later, my mother called again, her voice tight and panicked. Sarah, what's going on? Lucy's in tears. She says you filed a fraud case. Is that true? I said softly, It's true, Mom. She forged Grandma's documents. My mother snapped. Don't be ridiculous. Your sister would never do that. She's been handling everything responsibly. You're just being emotional. I replied firmly, Mom, this isn't about emotion. It's about evidence. Mr. Thompson verified the signatures, and she admitted it on the phone. I recorded the call. My mother was shocked. You recorded your sister? Yes, I said, because no one ever believes me unless I prove it. My mother sighed, the same old sigh that had followed me all my life. You used to be so kind. I don't know what happened to you. The call ended, leaving me alone with the cold realization that they had always underestimated me. 2 nights later, I got a call from an unknown number. When I saw it was Mark, Lucy's husband, I answered cautiously. Mark. I said. Hey, Sarah, he said quietly. His voice sounded tired and stripped of its usual politeness. I hope I'm not overstepping, but I think you deserve to know the truth. I didn't know what Lucy had done. She told me you'd given up your claim, but after the account freeze and all the bank calls, I started looking into things. She forged everything, Sarah. The will, the notary stamps. She said you wouldn't notice from overseas. I confronted her yesterday, and she broke down. She said she deserved the money more. She's already spent some of it on a new luxury car. I was speechless for a moment. Then I whispered, Thank you, Mark. He replied, You don't have to thank me. You were right all along. I'll testify in court if needed. The next morning, Mr. Thompson called. Mark's cooperating, and the buyers are also willing to testify. We have a solid case. If we move forward now, it's a sure win. I said simply, Do it. Hours later, Lucy's lawyer reached out. They wanted to settle. Mr. Thompson explained, She's offering $150,000 if you drop the case and let the sale stand. I laughed bitterly. It was half of what she'd stolen. No, I said firmly. Mr. Thompson warned me. She's desperate, but if we go to trial, her side will claim that Grandma wasn't of sound mind when she wrote the will. It'll be a messy fight. I replied, I don't care. I'm done keeping the peace at my own expense. He paused and then said, You sound just like your grandmother. That comment meant the world to me. That night, I couldn't sleep. I opened the last email Grandma had sent me. Her words filled the screen. If I ever leave you something, it's not out of pity. It's a promise that you'll always be brave enough to follow your dreams. The next morning, I told Mr. Thompson, I'll settle, but on my terms. He raised an eyebrow, even though I couldn't see him. What terms? I said, for things. First, she writes a notarized apology admitting everything. Second, she repays every cent to the buyers from her own account. Third, she sends a letter to our parents explaining what she did. And fourth, she agrees legally to never contest another inheritance again. Mr. Thompson smiled slowly. Poetic and brutal. I'll draft the agreement. By sunset, he called back. She agreed. Her lawyer said, she just wants this to end. When I received the PDF of the agreement, my hands were shaking. I read the first page. Lucy Miller, acknowledged that I falsified legal documents related to the estate of Rose Miller. Her handwriting looked small and defeated. I read it twice and then forwarded it to Mr. Thompson with the words, Justice served. 2 weeks later, Mr. Thompson called to tell me that the property was back in my name, the funds were released, and the buyers had been reimbursed. I walked to the window and looked out at the Thames. Mr. Thompson asked, What will you do now? I said quietly, Sell it. Grandma left it for me to move forward, not to hold on to. When the sale was finalized, I stared at the balance in my account, $350,000. It wasn't the money that made me cry. It was the fact that I had finally stood up for myself, just like Grandma would have wanted. I quit my job and opened my own studio, Rose Creative. It started with just one desk and one client, but it was the beginning of my dream. A month later, a package arrived from California. It was from my mother. Inside was Grandma's silver watch and a note that said, "She would want you to have this." I turned the watch over and traced the engraving on the back. "The world is waiting." The faint ticking was like a reminder of Grandma's love and the journey I had come through. Lucy moved back closer to our parents. She sold her new car at a loss and is going through a difficult time. I don't hate her anymore. I just hope she learns that integrity and the love of family are more valuable than any material gain. As I sit here in my studio, with the sunlight on my face and the silver watch on my wrist, I know that I've come a long way. If you've ever had to fight for what's right, tell me, was it worth it? Hit subscribe and share your story.